Hey guys, how's it going? Um, so I should be drinking coffee, but instead I'm drinking this extremely condensationed melted nugget ice Diet Coke. Um, I bought these sunglasses earlier this year, and I was so excited for it to be summer so I could wear them. And when I tell you, they are not disappointing because the blue lens is like giving life with this blue shirt, which is also one of my favorite additions of the year. I got it at Cause, and Cause has been one of the stores that has just sartorially been so good to me. I just discovered it in the last month. I just rediscovered it. I mean, I knew the store. I know that it's like H&M's more like up-leveled, beautiful brand. But in the past, many years ago, when I had gone into the store in downtown Montreal, I had always felt like it was just a lot of the same. And I have a lot of trouble seeing pieces and kind of distinguishing what I want when things are like a lot of the same minimal pattern. So they've really stepped it up. And their sizing is very realistic. I absolutely love what I purchased from them. The details are amazing. The fit is good. The sizing is honest. I feel like it accommodates my body where it's at 41 years old. And I just want to give them a little shout out. You know? I'm on this like creaky little chair because she's in her 40s and 2 postpartums. And apparently now I can't sit on like aesthetic cute chairs. I need to have a real office chair for my sessions and all the things. So I'm actually even in an office space that is mine, but because we haven't moved, we're converting this space. We were hoping to move houses and it's not happening. And my daughter's like getting up there. So we've been kind of doing this broche à foin, as we say in French, like just piecing everything together. It's a bit of a mess. My son's 4.5. He has a bedroom. My daughter does not have a bedroom yet. She's been sleeping all over the place. It's like not it. So we are converting this office space into her bedroom, which makes me a little bit sad because it means that my office is probably going to move either into the basement or our master bedroom, which is more likely our master bedroom. But anyways, I'm spending my last few kind of moments here. I've also recently been looking at my relationship with my work ethic. It's a really big thing because I feel that as someone who didn't have necessarily like, I had a break in my career after a burnout and just like leaving the fashion industry, we moved to another city. Everything changed. Pandemic happened. I've had 2 kids. I didn't plan on having 2 kids. I just let life lead me. And I'm just kind of like, it's really confusing and overwhelming to be in those situations in life when you just kind of are rolling with the punches and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, like, why am I trying to keep up a continuum? So recently I've been looking at my relationship with having to show up and how I put pressure on myself for that when there shouldn't be pressure. I mean, yes, financially, ideally, I would be working, but I think my husband is we have to look at like where we're pushing ourselves a little bit too much. And I have to look at where I'm trying to keep things up when it's not realistic. And I think full-time caring for 2 kids is a lot and trying to fit stuff in. Like work is a strain on our family that doesn't necessarily need to be there. So I don't know what this means for the future until my daughter gets into daycare. She's not right now there and she's 15 months-ish, like lost track, which is like second child thing. So it's a little bit of a lot. I love what I do and I absolutely love creating content. I think I have to let go a bit and create content that is when I can, and not when I have to like twist someone's arm to take care of my kids. so that I can squeeze this in. These are reflections that I've had recently on where I'm pushing myself a little bit too much, and in so doing kind of like harming my relationships and just not being in the present. I wrote a piece for the 11th House Cafe, which is my community space that is subscription. It's on Patreon. You don't have to pay to be a member. It's just kind of subscribe and you get the content, and there's a tip jar feature there, if you would like to kind of sponsor some of my work and stuff. And I wrote a piece called Reflections for there. There's a lot of other posts and stuff, but I wrote a piece called Reflections there, after spending the long Canadian weekend, Victoria Day long weekend, taking care of my 2 kids alone. Well, my husband went away, which is fine, and I was so happy for him to get that long weekend away for his birthday with his like college best friends and stuff. But the reflection that I had was that, oh my goodness, like when I just focus on just being a mom and just taking care of these young children, that is more than enough. And it really brought me a lot of peace, and I had a lot of fun with them being present versus stretching myself to try and be in all the places at once. But I really struggle with proving my worth and myself to others through the vein of like a career. So I think that weekend, and I articulated it a little bit through that piece called Reflections, and I have another piece that I'm working on right now about just the pressure to show up. So that'll be kind of a longer piece that'll publish on that Patreon space on the 11th House Cafe. But I guess it's just sort of like a preamble to this full moon energy, like this full moon moment, you know? And I'm just kind of feeling like something's gonna change, and I think I have to get a little more uncomfortable and just see where that takes me. And just like, I haven't stopped. I've been creating content, and I've been trying to show up with the pressure of like doing a thing and putting all this stuff. And I know that I want to do astrology, and I know that I've been doing like a lot of baby birth charts, and I know that I love doing that, and I know that I love reading cards, and I know that I love helping and serving. But like the sort of rhetorical but like universal question is, or like open-ended question is like, what's the cost, and like why does it have to be now? Is that social media that creates that pressure that it has to be now? Like, why does it have to be now? Can it be down the road? Like, there's still going to be the internet. There's still going to be people who are going to need help. There's still going to be that. Like, why do I have to keep showing up and in this way? And I thought too about it because after the long weekend, I was sort of reflecting on some of the content that I've created in the past. And I had a look, and I was like, God, like when I was going through my burnout, and I was trying to figure out, you know, like what was next. And I was doing Star Sisters, I was doing Moon Circles. And I look back at some of that content, and it's like so raw. It's mostly on Facebook, but it's so raw and it's so real. And I wonder what would have happened if I would have just like just pressed the pause button and not shown up online for that period of time when I was just trying to figure things out. And so I'm kind of like, this sort of self-reflection feels like it's like, this is a push to shove moment for me, where it's like, you need to take a break and evaluate why you keep showing up. Sometimes it's really nice to just like live your life behind the scenes. Now, I love social media, and it doesn't mean that I can't just like create creative content or even spend the time nurturing my 11th House Cafe space, versus feeling like I need to be doing all this astrology content and doing all this like intuitive content and promoting dates for readings. And it's a lot. And I realized on that long weekend, I was like, geez, you've showed up through all the things. And was that really the best thing? Number one. Two, okay, it shows like a raw and a realness, but also now you have 2 kids. And I was saying to a friend, and I kind of touched on it in the reflections piece, my son, I have 2 kids. I have a boy who's named Quinn. He's 4.5 years old. And I have a daughter who's like 15 months. And, And I was sitting with like the discomfort of being a mom, going through postpartum later in life, going through pregnancies later in life. And I was like, what if I'm only 4.5 years old right now? What if this entire experience of motherhood has like set me back, but set me forward, really? It's a metaphorical setback, where I'm relearning a new existence. And I'm only 4.5 years into that new existence. In astrology, we need a 7-year cycle to master something. What's the rush? I'm really looking at that for myself right now, you know? So you think this was like a really interesting preamble that I didn't plan on doing for you guys, but it sets the tone of where I'm at. I wish I had a coffee, but you know, in the vein of everything I've just said, I literally was like asking my husband, can we just watch Faye for a minute on your lunch break while I kind of do a few things that I had to finish up, because I have a day of readings. My books were open for tomorrow, the 23rd of May. So I have a day of readings. I had some paperwork stuff to get organized for that. And then I wanted to film this, and I'm already late on this because he was gone all weekend. So like typically this would have been filmed because we've been kind of in it, you know, with this astrology, and I wanted to support you guys. So that's the preamble, which I think hopefully articulates how sometimes astrologers and people who do readings and stuff will seem as sort of they're outside of the energy, but we're not outside of the energy. We're going through it with you guys. And I am definitely going through it with you guys. So here we are, fair and square. Tomorrow is the 23rd of May, and there's a full moon in Sagittarius, which means that we have entered Gemini season, because whichever sign the zodiac full moon is, it means the sun sign is in the opposite season. So there's always like there's 12 zodiacs, and there's a 6-month or a 6 kind of spaced out zodiac reference point, if you will. Okay. So oppositions, astrology works in oppositions in a lot of ways. Full moon tomorrow. So full moons, as they bring something to light from an outside source. So there is going to be something from the outside that is going to be impacting you right now. It's like, what is coming up? A couple of things. I nodded and alluded to this date 6 months ago in December, because I was like, what is going to be happening around the 23rd of May? Because this is an anaretic supported full moon. And anaretic means 29 degrees. So in astrology, a 29 degree is an anaretic degree. We have so many situations happening at 29 degrees. We have the moon exiting Scorpio and entering Sagittarius tomorrow, and it is exiting Scorpio at 29 degrees, 29 degrees, 29 degrees, and it's making oppositions to Venus and oppositions to Jupiter and trines to Neptune, and all this fancy stuff is happening. And then the full moon is happening when the sun is in Gemini at 2 degrees and the moon is at 2 degrees of Sagittarius. So they're exactly opposite each other. So it's like it's a fresh one. Okay. It's like early on in Gemini Sag energy. But beyond that, there's also going to be these 29 degree, these anaretic issues, challenges, things, kerfuffles between Venus and Jupiter and Venus and Neptune. And Jupiter and Neptune. And we also have some stuff happening between the moon at 2 degrees of Sagittarius and Pluto at 2 degrees of Aquarius. So the long and short of it is we're purging something from the last 6-month cycle. Something's got to go. Something's changing. Something that you've been hanging on to. It's done its time, and you're just facing that reality right now. There is a conjunction to Uranus through this chart, which means that it's a loose conjunction, but it's there. It's very loose. I mean, it is loose, but it's present for me. And it is really ruffling up, sort of putting the pressure and the gumption on the changes that need to happen. Like, we are feeling the fire, you know, even though it's in Taurus, which is like cool and stoic and like, I got this and I'm emotionally stealth. Are you though? What has been building up? Because this feels like it's around your relationship. So something of surprise can happen. This can kind of catch you off guard. This can really trip out your ego, which means the part of you that's like, I feel like I need to go on the defensive. We don't love that. It can bring up something from the deepest, darkest pockets of your house, your places and spaces that you didn't necessarily want to talk about. You know, the skeletons in the closet, they might be coming up a bit right now. And that's the Pluto stuff. And Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. She's in the mix. Venus is in the mix, and Venus rules Taurus, and anoretic stuff is happening in Taurus between Jupiter and Venus. So like the spotlight is on relationships and your values and how you see your value and how you see your worth and what you're learning, because Sagittarius wants to learn a thing, and Sagittarius is the teacher. It has wisdom imparted in it, and it wants to grow through something. So there's an offering on the table to grow through this experience. And I would say that with Pluto in the mix here and Uranus there, it kind of feels like your back's against a wall. Like growth is non-negotiable through this. So we're really going through it. And I think there's also an opportunity to dream up that Neptune magic in there. It feels like there's an opportunity to dream up something that's going to feel really good for our future self as we are purging, because where things might feel stark or dark or heavy or like we just are stuck, there's always a silver lining and there's always a blessing. And Jupiter brings blessings and it brings joy. So it is working fast and furious and hard for your joy through this. But you've got to be willing to see it. Like glass is half full or glass is half empty. What are we doing here? You know? Be careful you're not like gossiping a little bit too much through this full moon. I feel like we're in Gemini, you know, gotta be careful with that, because with Pluto in the mix and Uranus in the mix and Venus and Jupiter, oof, if we go a little too hard on something, it can come back and sort of bite us in the ass kind of thing, you know. But if you're honest and you have integrity and you're authentic and you're truthful and you're honest and you're vulnerable in your relationships and you're vulnerable with yourself and you're willing to concede something that has to shift and you're getting out of your own way, you will experience the blessings of this full moon. And that stuff that was going on in December 2023 is going to remove itself. And you are going to see the light of day. Like you're going to walk out behind the curtain onto the stage and you're going to be like, hello, I am here. Let me take a bow. I am letting it go and letting it flow. Let's do a card pull. I do want to tell you guys that the zodiac signs that are going to be really affected by this are fixed signs, okay? And fixed signs are the ones I've been talking about. Like, I feel like my ears are bleeding. I've been talking about you guys so much, but it's Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. Like, it's been good, but also heavy. So you're feeling the burn of this one. You're feeling it. It's like something's gotta shift. And I also want to say, because this is taking place in a Gemini Sagittarius energy, Gemini season, Sagittarius full moon, there's a mutable quality to it. So we also want to look at the mutable signs, which are indeed Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Virgo. So you guys are feeling, I would say you're like on the periphery of this, but also maybe protagonists or supporting cast to this, because the full moon is happening in a mutable energy, okay? But the fixed signs with all of this like Taurus energy just stacked. We've got Mercury in Taurus, we've got Uranus in Taurus, and we've got Jupiter and Venus at 29 degrees of Taurus. And yeah, you know, it's something. And I mean, really, the sun is also in an aspect, it's trining Pluto through this. So there's a spontaneous need to make a shift. And change, the best kind of changes come when you least expect them, and it's how you're willing to dance with them. And I think Gemini wants to dance. So let's see. Ooh, that one she feels good. There we go. Let's get a read on a message for this full moon. Oh, I'm feeling tingles. Can you show me a little bit more around the Empress? Who is the Empress? What is going on? Oh, okay. Can I get an astrology card for this scenario, please? It's a bit of a mess. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna pull one more. Yeah, I love when I just am really connected and the cards that I pull completely articulate what I was just saying. And I got Pluto in here and the moon is in here too. So the moon is reversed and Pluto's in the mix. So this is suggesting that there is a little bit of a refusal to move through the discomfort, the vulnerability, and the transformation, essentially. A lot of really big cards are here. We have the Strength card reversed. I mean, the visuals on these cards are stunning. We have the Strength card reversed. Look at this card upright, okay? Red dress, lion, the sun. The Empress is here. She's also reversed. 4 voices, 6 of materials, and we have one more astrology card, which is the Ascendant. So we're talking to someone here specifically, and it's how you want to be seen. And the thing is with how you want to be seen is that you've got to be willing to let go. Why is my phone doing this? I'm so sorry. You've got to be willing to let go of your control aspect on how you want to be seen. You've got to be willing to give yourself a little breathing room. And you've got to be willing through that breathing room to give yourself the space to be authentically yourself and accept yourself for exactly who you are. Because if you don't accept yourself for exactly who you are, how do you expect the people around you to accept you for who you are? So stop trying to be someone you're not. That's it. Like, that's it. Just stop trying to be someone who you're not. Just embrace the possibility of transforming through this full moon. There's an energy here that is asking you to really look at the magic that you have been working hard for, that you've been putting up a fight for. And there's an opportunity. I feel like this is the silver lining. We have the 6 of materials here. The silver lining here is that the abundance is within your reach, except for you have to stop settling and you have to stop selling yourself short and you have to stop abandoning who you are. Don't be in fear of your strength and your power and your capability. Own it. Strive for it. Reach for it. Put yourself out there for it. There's a little bit of noise. There's a little bit of noise that is kind of getting in the way, because part of it feels fulfilling and it feels aligned and you're loving the way that it sounds and you're loving the way that it's reaching you, that information. But is it really helpful to where you know you need to go? So I think there's like, it's really beautiful, this read. It's like, it's sort of very in tune with the opposition. Like, who do you want to be and who are you pretending to be? Because the full moon is casting a light on exactly what you need to do and what moves you need to make and the noises that you need to remove in order to be exactly who you are. And it's also showing you your fear. It's showing you your fear, and that's Pluto here. So what are you scared of? And the moon reversed. What are you scared of? Because I feel like there's an opportunity to go really big through this full moon and an opportunity to really own your entire existence without trying to project or imagine it to be something else, or showing up in the fear that you won't be accepted for your truth, for what is meaningful to you, for what is valuable to you, for where you get real, raw, and honest. And the thing is, this information will resonate with some of you and it won't with others. It depends on where you are in the pursuit of your happiness. And wherever you are is exactly where you're meant to be. But if you are at the space where you are really in a make or break moment and you are really looking to make the changes that you know are available to you this year, right now, you've got to be willing to get uncomfortable. Where are you stopping yourself from getting uncomfortable because you're worried that means sacrificing something that you will have to get real, raw, and honest about, accepting about yourself, and that the fear of others seeing you for exactly who you are is holding you back. I want to say that Empress reversed here also feels very much like, I feel very like emotional through this. Like, it feels for me like the emotions are just like coming up so much. I feel them in my body, and it feels there's a sadness to this, and the sadness is really dark and volatile, and it's giving you this sense of hopelessness. And I want you to know that you're not hopeless. Look for the silver lining, but be willing to look at what needs to change. Be willing to look at what needs to change. It's going to be okay. It has to be okay. There is no other way. I'm sending you so much love. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop them in the comments below. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And if you have something that you want to contribute to the conversation or that you want to share with me, I'm available on Instagram and TikTok in the DMs. You can also just comment below. You can email me. It's in my YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't yet and you enjoyed this content. And thank you so much for being here. Like, really, from the bottom of my heart, I wish you a really, really potent full moon in Sagittarius. I hope the truth shows itself to you, and I hope you're brave and courageous enough to be in honest pursuit of it, because that is the only way through and the only way you will be able to offer yourself the fruits of your labor. Have a good one. I'll see you soon.